They tore down my wind turbine on a Monday morning. By Tuesday evening, their homes were dark. When the Crestview Homeowners Association president, Harold Grayson, ordered the demolition of my legally permitted renewable energy system, he didn't know I'd spent 12 years as an electrical engineer for the Department of Energy, or that my sister works for the city's permitting office, or that I'd saved every email, blueprint, and violation notice since 2019. But he was about to find out the hard way. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I bet many of you have HOA horror stories. This one ends with karma hitting like a power surge. I'm Nathan Carver, 39, and I've built my career on energy grids. With the DOE, I've seen what happens when power fails. That expertise led me to Crestview Heights, a 2.5-acre lot with perfect wind exposure. The ridge was the draw. Where others saw gusts, I saw clean energy. My wife, Claire, a regulatory lawyer, was wary of my plan for a small wind turbine. Green projects can ignite neighborhood feuds, she warned. But after reviewing codes, we moved forward legally. I designed a quiet, safe turbine to power our home and feed the grid. It wasn't just eco-friendly, it was built to prevent outages, which climate data showed were increasing. We got permits, passed inspections, and presented to the HOA. Neighbors liked the idea of a power expert tackling outages. Harold called it innovative. Our neighbor, Edith Conway, warned, "Smart, but watch that HOA board. More drama than City Hall." I shrugged it off, but she was right. The turbine took 3 months to build. It worked perfectly, powering our home and easing grid strain. Neighbors' bills dropped slightly from my surplus energy. For 3 years, it kept things stable. We hosted solar-powered barbecues. Claire planted wildflowers around the base. Evenings on our patio, watching the blades spin, were perfect. Grumbles surfaced at HOA meetings about visual clutter. Some board members who'd wanted our lot for its view resented us. Trouble started when Harold's son, Derek, bought the house across the ridge. My turbine became an eyesore and the HOA's top target. Harold ran the HOA like his fiefdom. A retired car dealer with a control streak, he'd been president for 8 years, unchallenged. With a salesman's charm and shaky ethics, he pushed his agenda as community will. I'd stayed on his good side, but Derek's arrival changed everything. Soon, I got a letter citing unapproved modifications and a $150 daily fine. The claim was baseless. I had permits and board approval. At the next meeting, I showed my documents, but Harold dismissed them. "Permits don't trump aesthetics," he said. When I reminded him of his praise, he smirked. That wasn't formal approval. Harassment followed, complaints about my fence, mailbox, anything. Harold did weekend inspections, snapping photos. Through a City Hall contact, I learned Harold fast-tracked Derek's purchase, skipping zoning reviews. He forged neighbors' names on complaints. Sarah Nguyen told me, "Harold used my name on a turbine complaint. I never filed it." He funneled HOA funds to events that were Derek's parties and banned kids from playing near industrial structures, isolating our allies. Claire and I tried every channel. She challenged citations, citing bylaw violations. I met board members, but most feared Harold. Lisa Bennett admitted, "He controls committees. No one wants trouble." Greg Palmer, Derek's realtor, said, "The turbine blocks Derek's view. Think of the community." The attacks drained us. Claire drafted responses instead of working cases. I logged every incident, expecting a fight. Harold scoffed when I explained the turbine's role in grid stability. "We've survived outages without your gadget," he said, ignoring recent blackouts. A final compliance notice arrived, announcing corrective action for Monday. I didn't know Harold had hired a wrecking crew while I'd be at a conference. Edith's call woke me. "Nathan, a demolition team's at your turbine. Harold's there." I was 150 miles away. Claire was in court. I told Edith to film but stay safe. Police called it HOA business, a civil issue. The city couldn't send an inspector for days. Edith sent photos of my turbine in pieces. When I got home, the turbine was gone, wires dangling, a scar on the ridge. Harold grinned, overseeing cleanup. Harold, you've destroyed a permitted system. Do you realize the liability? He laughed. HOA enforces covenants, Nathan. Derek's view is clear now. He pointed to his son, smirking. City Inspector Maria Torres arrived as the crew left. Off record, she said the HOA had no right to destroy a permitted structure. Trouble's coming, she said, checking her weather app. Heatwave tomorrow. Without the turbine, the grid would buckle. I warned Harold, you've created a blackout risk. He sneered, spare me your eco-doom.
Things worsened. The HOA sued, claiming my unauthorized structure destabilized the grid. My boss emailed about ethics allegations, putting me on leave. Claire learned the state bar was probing her for allegedly dodging regulations. Harold was attacking our careers. A heat wave loomed, forecast to hit 105 degrees Fahrenheit, spiking demand. Staring at the wreckage, I felt helpless. 3 years of work, gone. But resolve grew. I'd navigated energy crises before. Harold wasn't winning. As the heat wave hit, I told Claire, get generators ready. Call your sister at permitting. We're documenting every outage and burying Harold in legal filings. The heat wave struck, air conditioners overloading the grid. Our home with solar backups stayed lit, but downhill, lights flickered. Half the neighborhood lost power. Garages sweltered, appliances died. Greg called, panicked. Our street's dark, can you help? I was photographing outages. I warned Harold, I said, my turbine prevented this. Lisa called, her fridge dead. Harold said it was eco-nonsense. I replied, I'm an engineer, Lisa, power's my job. The situation worsened. Derek's home hit 90 degrees Fahrenheit inside. Harold's AC fried. Neighbors begged for tips. I emailed, unplug non-essentials, close blinds, use fans, stop gaps. Without the turbine, the grid was toast. Helping Edith save her medications, I saw Derek blaming me to neighbors. Carver's illegal turbine broke the grid. His lie snapped me. I stormed over. My permitted turbine stabilized this grid. Your father destroyed it before a heat wave, ignoring warnings. I showed photos and data. This blackout's Harold's negligence. Sarah backed me. I saw Harold approve it years ago and direct the crew yesterday. Neighbors turned on Harold. Derek fled. I shared tips, but relief hinged on the grid. Alone later, I broke down, furious at the preventable chaos. Edith called, her home unbearable. I went to help. By night, Derek's home was unlivable. Harold's a sauna. Board members emailed, eager to discuss grid solutions. I wasn't rushing. I was strategizing. Dawn showed a neighborhood in chaos. Spoiled food, failed devices, sweltering homes. Our solar-powered house was spared, noticed by all. An emergency HOA meeting was set at the community center, the only place with power. I brought my files. Neighbors, sweaty and angry, shared losses, melted heirlooms, ruined electronics. Edith whispered, "You warned them, Nathan." Claire arrived saying, "This is endangerment, criminal charges possible." Energy consultant Tom Rivera added, "Insurers call this man-made. Claims are denied." Harold entered, disheveled, opening. An unprecedented heat wave overloaded our grid. "This wasn't just heat," I said, standing. "You destroyed a permitted system that stabilized this grid." I showed permits, outage records, warnings, and Edith's video of Harold directing the demolition. Tom said, "Insurers won't cover this." Judge Ellen Harper added, "The HOA acted illegally. Board members could be liable." Harold snapped, "We enforced covenants." City official Carla Jensen arrived with a citation. Carver's turbine was permitted. Its removal broke ordinances. Maria Lopez sobbed, "My son's insulin spoiled. He's in the hospital over your covenant." Officer Daniels entered. "The DA's reviewing charges for destruction and endangerment." Harold paled. Charges loomed. When he tried to end the meeting, Ellen stood. "This meeting continues without you, Harold." Applause erupted as Harold stormed out, Greg following. Crestview talked openly for the first time in years. The neighborhood revolted against HOA mismanagement. My records fueled our case. Accountant Priya Sharma found Harold's scams, inflated contracts to allies, drained reserves, kickbacks. Neighbors shared stories of bullying, denied upgrades, predatory fines. The HOA's lawyer, Harold's old partner, had rubber-stamped his schemes. Claire built a legal timeline. "This isn't just our turbine," she said. "It's corruption." Harold sent defamation suits and liens, but they backfired. Ellen contested them pro bono. Neighbors swore affidavits against his forgeries. Cameras caught Harold sneaking onto my property, planting fake notices. The board, led by Lisa, suspended him and ordered audits. At a community meeting, fraud prosecutor Elena Ruiz outlined our findings. Harold and Greg sat defiantly. Derek entered, haggard. "I need to speak," he said. He admitted warning the city anonymously about blackouts if the turbine was removed. "I begged Dad to stop. I showed him the forecast. He wouldn't listen. He'd lost everything in the outages." Harold shouted, "Derek, stop!" Derek shared texts proving Harold ignored warnings. "I'm selling my house. I can't stay." He sat apart. The vote to remove Harold was near unanimous. As he left, he yelled, "This isn't over, Carver." I smiled. "The grid says it is." Harold faced fallout. Insurers denied claims, sparking a class action suit. My job and Claire's bar status were restored after Harold's smears were exposed. He faced charges for destruction, endangerment, and fraud. Greg's realtor license was suspended. The neighborhood bonded, repairing homes together. A transparent board was elected. The city banned HOAs from removing permitted structures. Claire advised the new board on fair bylaws. I designed a better turbine, built with volunteers. It became a community hub with benches by the blades. Harold settled the lawsuit, paying damages and admitting fault to avoid bankruptcy. Derek moved away after testifying. On the blackout's anniversary, we gathered by the turbine. Kids played, adults toasted. Edith said, "To Nathan and Claire, who built community from chaos." Applause was for all who fought corruption. A recent heat wave tested our system. It held. Roger said, "A blackout shows what's rotten." My files on Harold gather dust, labeled Turbine Saga. Generators stay ready. A new inspector, Calvin Holt, photographed the turbine eyeing my cameras. His vibe recalled Greg. Trouble or not, we're prepared. At HOA Gone Wild, chaos tells the tale.